Okay, we're going to start on the paper mache box, and we're going to put this cane on the top, possibly on the sides. And I think I'm going to put this little cane around the edge of the lid here. It seems to fit real well, but we'll see. I'm not sure I like that cane with this cane, but we'll see. We'll do something decorative or something around the sides. So the first thing you're going to need, first thing you do to your box, put your lid on it and take a pencil or a pen and mark around where your lid comes to. Because if you bring your clay all the way up to this edge, you'll never get your lid back on to fit correctly. So you have to stop your clay right here where I made the lines. It'll be from here down. And that happened to be the size of a bracelet template from the Tiny Pandora Easy Cuff Bracelet Kit that I used this template to cut this line. Same thing for the top up here on my little edge. This is a really small template for the bracelet kit, and it fits right here, so I didn't have to measure anything. All I had to do was follow my line on my template, which made it so easy. Okay, I'm going to put some well-bond glue, and this is what I use on everything: paper mache, metal, glass if I need to. You can use liquid clay, but this is cheaper, and I think it holds a little bit better. Just going to put a thin layer on. Rub it on with my finger. And you just want it sticky. You don't want it so much on there that your clay is going to slide everywhere. And I already have this one cut, and I cut it a little bit larger than what I think I need, so I could put it over the edge a little bit or match it up right. I'm going to get it on there straight. This is another time, as always, watch for air bubbles. Start in the center and smooth them out over the open edges while your edges are open, and they'll come right out. Because if you leave them in there, they're going to be worse once they're baked. And I will end up painting with acrylic paint the inside of the box with a color to match. When I cut this side off, so I think I can get them to match right up. And I've got two different colors of yellow clay. These were scraps. You may or may not have seen my elephant box I did out of another paper mache box. And I used yellow on the main box on it, and I really liked it after I got my elephant cane on there. And yellow's something I normally don't use a lot of, and I've been trying to get to the point of using more colors that I normally don't use, because I always grab for purples and teals and things like that. Pinks and yellows and stuff. I like it, but it just seems like that's not my grab color that I go to. So once I get it finished, I really like it, so just going to make sure again there's no air bubbles that's on here. But I have a lighter color of yellow clay to go around the edge. Now, so I don't get well-bond glue all over everything. It dries clear, but I don't want to take the chance of getting it on the top yellow clay that I just put on there. Okay, I'm just going to rub my finger right around this edge and keep it away from the top as much as possible. I lost some footage there somewhere, and I'm not sure what I have at this point in time or not. But anyhow, what I did was I went around these corners and the edges, put them all the way around. So I've got my top on. I'm just smoothing out the edge a little bit with my cane bender. You can use a knitting needle people use. I don't have any knitting needles left. That was years ago, knitting and crocheting. But I got that all smoothed out. That's done. That's when I said these boxes are real easy to do and quick to do. Looks like getting my glue out is going to take longer than it is to put the clay on the box. Just going to run it up to the line where I put my line where my lid comes down. Just spread it on. I had my bottle turned upside down until I took the lid off of it. Make sure you get it on those corners really well. And the reason I think this holds better than a liquid clay is this is an adhesive. Liquid clay is not an adhesive. It doesn't have any glue in it. And it will hold baked clay to raw clay or raw clay to raw clay. But it doesn't have that adhesive that I think is needed in a lot of things. Now let me put this one on here. You can stretch this to make it fit where you need it. I need it to come down on that edge just a little bit at the bottom. I'm going to roll over this and get all the air out. Let's see if I can't get this to come out to this. This is rolled out on a number 5 on my atlas. So it's thin to begin with. But you don't need anything really thick when you're covering these type of boxes. Well, we got it that far, that'll work. Adding glue to the other two sides. And these boxes are perfectly safe to bake in any oven. We don't get our temperatures up high enough to actually bake or burn the boxes and wood and stuff. So you can use a lot of different things in polymer clay. I'll make sure I get it there because I've got to join that together there. And like I said, I'll be painting the inside, and I'll also paint this part right here where the clay, there's not going to be any clay. Now let me butt it up against this one. I need to move that down a little bit. Do this one this way, since I have a straight edge there. I'm just going to cut off my extra clay. And that was sort of in an angle. So let's see if I can get that blended. I love covering these little boxes. They're not that expensive, and they come in different sizes and all different shapes. And they're easy to do and quick to do. Let me make sure they're even across the top, so my lid will fit on good. I'm going to put the bottom on. Then while I'm cutting cane slices, I'm going to let this rest. And this is sort of like a liquid clay in the fact that it will set up the longer it sits. So it's to help if I got the glue spread out, wouldn't it? When I get this one on, I would definitely go wash my hands. Just pressing this on, working the air out. Some air bubbles right here. Let's see if I can get them worked out. If not, you can split them. I find it's easier to hide a split than it is to poke a hole. Because now I go back in and roll right over these, and those slits go right back together. I'm just going to straighten out my edges up here. Make sure I don't see any air bubbles. Okay, I'm actually going to take and spray a little bit of alcohol on a baby wipe and go over this and smooth it out and clean it up. Get any of the glue off of it that came off of my fingers. There we go with that. I'm going to let this set. Here's the lid. We'll let these set and cut my cane slices and wash my hands, and I'll be back. Well, I got all my yellow on my box, and I decided not to use this cane. I think the two don't go well together. I don't think the two go well together. And once I got this cut and placed together in my 4 pieces to make my square, I really liked it, so I didn't want to take away from it. So I went digging in my canes to see what I had that would go along the edge and possibly around the bottom or something. So I found this one, which is this one, but not reduced as much. So I didn't like that at all. So I decided that I would take this little texture strip, and this is a Lisa Pavelka, I believe. And there was different edgings on a big piece, and I cut them up in 2. And I have just gone through on my yellow clay and made the imprint. And it really didn't matter if it matched or anything. I just wanted that texture there. So I went through and did it on all the sides and made sure I had a good imprint, because out of everything else that I've looked at and thought about, I'm going to put pan pastels over top of this in a dark blue to match the blue on that cane. And I just need some sort of design to be able to work with. So I think I'm going to put one on each side this way. So I wanted some design from my texture sheet right here on my box. So I went through and just impressed that in there and put that on there. And then I thought, you know, I never do anything to the bottom of these boxes. And it's like anything else. If people's going to look at them, they're going to turn them upside down to look at them. So I thought, why not finish the bottom? Because I'll be putting deep shine on this anyhow. So I can put a surface treatment on here. And I have chosen pan pastels. So right here where my design's not real clear, I'm going to put my little apple in there. So there's my apple. And it'll show up with my pan pastels. Now, if you watched one of my other videos, I said that I messed up where I tried to put too thin of cane slices onto the piece. Let me get this straight lined up with my grid, or so this time I squared them all up, straightened them all up, put them together on my work surface. I barely laid it on here so I could try to make sure it was centered and all my edges were straight. Oop. Get this edge a little bit more straight here. And this is raw clay to raw clay, so I don't have to put any type of liquid clay down. Okay. Now before I get my hands covered in pan pastels, let me put these side pieces on. And I'm just going to line them up where my lid would come down. And I'm barely going to put them on there for right now, because I want to get them centered up as well. And I'm just going to lay them there and gently press them down for a minute. But this way I have a design going all around the box that's not competing with my cane. And that's what I needed, was something that wouldn't compete with it, because I mean, I really like this. And I don't even know what I made that cane for. Okay. So what I think I'm going to do is put my pan pastels on here first. It has some scotch tape, some clear tape, or packing tape nearby, so you can remove any unwanted pan pastels. And I'm just lightly going to brush over these. I'm just using an eyeshadow applicator because I don't want to get pan pastels all over my hand and then deal with these cane slices. And of course, yellow and blue make green, so this is coming out a little bit more green than blue. But this is the darkest blue I had in pan pastels. And the star of the box is the cane, not the design. So I'm not really so concerned about the design as much. I'm just giving it a little bit of texture that I thought may look nice. Pan pastels and mica powders and chalk pastels. You can use scotch tape to actually remove too much. Now there's some gobs on here that I think are too much, like right here and here, down in the corner. Just put your tape on there and gently rub over it, and it'll pull it off, and you can take as much and as little off as you want. And I'm just going to run the pan pastels around this. And I will paint the inside of my box before I bake it. I'm going to use acrylic paint, and that way it will be heat set as it bakes. And that just helps it dry. Okay, I think that's pretty much done. Yeah, I do like that. Okay, let's go back to putting these on the edges. And the tips are a little bit longer than what the side of my box is. So I'm going to have to cut them off. And I'm going to cut them flush with the bottom right here. So that's what the sides will look like. And I cut these a little bit thicker than I did other ones for the other project I did. So I have a little bit more control over them. I'm just pressing them down on there. And I'm just eyeballing this center. And I really never thought about it until I turned this box over, and I thought, you know, people always look at the bottoms and the backs of everything. That's why we make our jewelry pieces professional on the back side as we did on the front side. So I'm going to start making my boxes like this, as professional looking on the bottom as I did on the top, and just not leave them blank. Okay, that's all straightened out. And here's my little box. And I'd love to put something here in the center. I'm not sure what. I'm not sure it needs anything, but I sure would like to. I don't know if a gemstone would work in there or not. Oh, yeah, it does, doesn't it? Okay. I like that real well. So I'm going to get a Sculpey one. one may work, it may be too large. And I will make my indentation right there. And I'm going to put some GemSticky in there and set it under my UV light before I actually put it in the oven. When you order your GemSticky, you get these cool little brushes. And I put enough in there to where it's going to come out on the edges, because that's what's going to hold that stone in there. Glad I tried that. I think I like that. I just felt like it needed something and I wasn't sure what, but this blue stone does the job, doesn't it? It sure does. And I'm just going to press my stone down in there. GemSticky came out around the edge, and that's what will hold it in there. So I'll stick this much under my UV light for about 90 seconds or so. Then I'll paint the inside of it, and then it's ready to bake. Let's scoot this one up just a little so it's straight with the lid. Well, the blue rhinestone really added a lot to it, didn't it? So I'll get this finished up and get it baked, and then we'll do I plan on doing one video of all the projects we've done completed in this little series of what to do with canes. So after I get this baked, we'll be back.